All I need is Brian to get me a cowbell, and I promise I'll ring it when I play this.
Yeah, I'm just letting it ring out of respect for the maroon and white. We have to have a proper play-in for our next guest here on Mornings, and this is it, the one, the only. The man, the myth, the Mississippi State legend, Brian Hadad. How you doing? Oh, yeah, well, you're getting promoted today, bud. How you doing?
I appreciate that, Dave. I'm doing good. Doing good. Glad to be with you, sir. Once again, on Mornings with Richard Cross, without Richard Cross. Once again, bottom of the show, to not talk about economics, foreign policy, taxes. Nope, more sports. All right, sure, no problem.
Yeah, well, we can just, go right over into tax policy if you'd like, but I hate it. Both.
Yeah, that's the end of that discussion.
And scene. That's the whole conversation right there. I got a little more of a fun conversation we can have with Mississippi State. Are they looking at double bolting down the goalposts for the rest of the season?
So I don't know if you know this or not, but the people who are taking the goalpost off there work for Mississippi State. Those are MSU employees making sure that the goalposts were not broken and damaged in any way. So, the goalposts are set up, they're like easy ups, right? There's a bolt, you pull it out, they come down, and off you go. And so that's what's happening there. So the goalposts are in perfect condition. They'll be fine for tomorrow's game with Alcorn.
Now, let me ask you this, because we got to talk about this, and you're the guy that would know. The fine situation for the students storming the field, where are we at on that, and what does that look like?
It's $500,000, and it'll be paid at some point by the – I'm sure Zach Selman made 2 or 3 phone calls to some of his bigger boosters and was like, can we and it probably got covered pretty quickly. But that's the price you pay when you storm the field. State could have avoided it. They tried. They tried to avoid it. They had a countdown clock up on the jumbotron that said field access, and I think it was 3 minutes after the end of the game. But it just got ignored. And I think part of that is because State hasn't stormed the field in 21 years. The last field storming prior to last Saturday was 2004 against Florida. So the protocols aren't there for Mississippi State. My guess is, if State has another big win at home, they play Georgia, they play Tennessee, they play Texas here in Starkville. If they pull off an upset in one of those games and the fans want to come on the field again, it will maybe a little bit better organized. But they just want to be safe about the players, get the opposing players especially off the field before they let fans out there. But in this case, State didn't get the memo, and they'll pay the fine.
Well, it's understandable, and I saw the tweet from Governor Tate Reeves when it came out about the fine, and he just said worth every penny. Yeah, and I agree with that.
100%. That's a great scene, a great moment. State's had nothing but positive publicity all week on national media. People are excited once again for Mississippi State football. So sometimes, it's a big number, $500K. I mean, for me and you, Dave, it's a big number. If Richard were here, he'd be like, "What? That's easy money." But it's just going to get paid, and that's the price of doing business in this situation, I guess.
Now, let me ask you this. Moving on to tomorrow's game, it's a great start to the season for Mississippi State. Do you think there's any possibility of that old booger bear of kind of taking for granted this weekend's game after the big win and the high from that? Yeah. Is there a danger there?
Well, is it possible that State comes out sloppy and a little hungover? Yeah, that's absolutely a possibility. But is there a possibility of an upset? I mean, it's as minuscule as I can make the percentage. State's last since they played Samford in 2016, that was the game that was really close against an FCS school. Since then, the average margin of victory is like 42, 43 points. And this Alcorn team, God bless them, they're not a very good FCS team either. So even if State comes out sloppy, the chance of an upset or anything like that, it's the same percentage of a meteor hitting the earth right now. And it didn't happen. So,
well, do you think it would be better or worse for the team if they came out and, say, at the end of the first quarter, they weren't where they were expecting to be because there had been a little sloppiness and maybe not the intensity that they should have had? Would that be a welcome wake-up call?
I think that's probably what you're going to end up seeing, Dave. I think, Yeah, look, if State comes out in that first quarter and it's 21-0 at the end of the first and they're just firing on all cylinders, that's great. It means Jeff Lebby did a great job of getting his guys back into focus. But, they're just human beings. And if it's a sloppy first quarter, then Lebby will have them over there and he'll have some words with them and he'll get them going. By the end of this game, State will be up 35, 40, something odd points. But a slow start, I won't be totally surprised if at the end of the first quarter it's something like 7-0 and State just hasn't played as clean as you would like them to.
Now, having said that, I want to do something that you don't do in football if you're a coach. We're not coaches, so we don't have to follow that rule.
I know where we're going.
Let's look past tomorrow's game. What are we looking at?
So, State, these next two games, Alcorn and Northern Illinois. Northern Illinois, of course, they went to Notre Dame last year and won. But so you can't just write that game completely off, but they're not a great team this year. State should be able to handle their business and be 4-0. And that sets up a massive game with Tennessee on September the 27th. With September the 27th is one of the best weekends of college football I can ever remember us having in the world. Just in the SEC, you have Arkansas, Notre Dame. You have Texas A&M and Auburn. You have Alabama and Georgia. You've got Ole Miss and LSU, and you've got Mississippi State and Tennessee. I mean, massive games. And then you have Oregon, Penn State, and the Big Ten. I mean, there's huge games. If Tennessee wins this weekend, they play Georgia Saturday. I mean, that's suddenly a huge game between two undefeated teams. I mean, I would think at 4-0, State has a chance to be in the top 25. Tennessee, with a win this weekend, if they were 4-0, they're probably in the top 10, maybe the top 5. So there's just a lot to like about what's going to happen in the next few weeks for Mississippi State. It's a position State hasn't been in a few years. Even when Mike Leach was here, they would have an early season loss that kind of knocks some luster off of a matchup here. So a great opportunity for Mississippi State. Tennessee will be very, very tough. They've been very good thus far this year. I'm interested to see what they look like tomorrow against Georgia. But, yeah, there's a lot of excitement. You had 50,000 people in the stadium Saturday, and if you can get a 4-0 Mississippi State team to play Tennessee, I think you'll be closer to 60,000 for that one.
Let me ask you something. A month ago, 30 days ago, could you have imagined being sitting here having a realistic conversation about the possibility of an undefeated Mississippi State team in the top 25 playing an undefeated Tennessee team in the top 10 at this point already in the... Would you have ever imagined we would be sitting here having this conversation?
This may sound weird, but I would have been more surprised by Tennessee at that point, right? Because that would have involved them beating Georgia. And I really like the Georgia Bulldogs. I think they're a good team. But Tennessee has played better this year than I thought they would. For State, I didn't predict them in my preseason stuff. I didn't predict them to beat Arizona State. But I knew that there was a path to do that. So an undefeated 4-0 Mississippi State wasn't completely out of the realm of possibility. But the way that game played out last Saturday, Dave, it's taken on a life of its own. And it's become a little bit more than just they're 2-0. It's become... There was this emotional outburst Saturday, and people are excited for Mississippi State football again. So it is something, though, that I wouldn't have talked about it too much on Sports Talk Mississippi, just because the text line would have been like, "Oh, you're an idiot. Oh, you're just wrong. Don't even do this to yourself." So I would have left that alone probably.
Yeah, but the "told you so" dance would be epic.
It's
when
fun.
It came around. Yeah,
it's good times.
Yeah, the problem is you have to run the risk of doing the "oops, I shouldn't have said anything" shuffle, which is an entirely different dance. It's going to be a great season. I would argue, you talking about the way the game played out, and 30 seconds to go in the game, and you get that huge pass and a win to go ahead, a score to go ahead for the win. I think, what do you think, both for the fans and for the team? Did it do them more good to win that way than if they had just dominated and led the entire second half by 2 touchdowns?
That's a good question. For the team, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, maybe it gave them a little bit of "we can do this," little, we should believe in us moment. For the fans, absolutely. Absolutely. I don't think they stormed the field if State just wins that game 30-17. I think the emotional, State thought they were going to lose. It was over, and then you have that moment. That brought the emotion of that just was overwhelming for everybody, and that's why they took the field. So I think from a fan perspective, yes, there are a lot. It sounds weird, right? You'd much rather have just won the game 40-0, but from a fan perspective, I think winning the game that way got everybody a lot more excited for the next few weeks of Mississippi State football.
especially, and let's just be honest here, with the way last season played out, that was one of the happiest punches to the jaw the fans have gotten in a while.
It's been quite a while since Mississippi State fans had anything to really poke their chest out about. You got to go back basically to the Egg Bowl in 2022. And, Mike Leach's last game with Mississippi State. For the last time a Mississippi State fan felt really good about their team.
Brian Hadad, the host of Thunder and Lightning. He's a regular on SportsTalk, one of the guys there, where he does not mention a whole lot about Ole Miss because he's got other things to concentrate on.
I can talk about the Rebels. I was prepared to do so.
Oh, yeah, no, that's okay. We're leaning into your expertise, buddy.
I got you.
You use the right tool for the right job, and we were driving the state nail today. So,
Absolutely.
We got the good tool in here. Appreciate your time, man.
Anytime,
and
Dave.
keep up the fantastic work. You
All
do
right,
a
man.
great
We'll see
job.
you later.
See ya. Brian Hadad. Go check out Thunder and Lightning if you haven't. You're missing out.